Well, I want to go over some alternative medicine, quote unquote. And if you cured your cat with some type of fatal, cancer or something like that, if your cat had arthritis or something, and you gave them some alternative medicine, they're not going to sue you. They don't care. Cats are good people, man. They're not like humans, right? Right? Anyway, and you don't have cat doctors, cat attorneys, cat psychiatrists, whatever the hell else is out there. They're just cats, so everything's chill. Anyway, I want to go on over this one device. It's called a Candida fungus zapper. Now, you can actually, this is something from Dr. Hulda Clark. Now, Dr. Hulda Clark is kind of like, I think she's pretty good. I know she wrote this book called like The Cure for All Diseases, which I think was like, yeah, that's a little bit up there in the stratosphere. But I think there's some things she did that have merit. And, I look at it like this, it's alternative. It doesn't mean it's quackery. It means, like, alternative actually is like a damn word because most people in the medical profession don't do it. But a lot of times this alternative stuff came from the medical people. It's like they weren't like quacks, you know what I mean? They're pros at their profession. And, I actually want to get into something here before I even talk about this Candida Zapper. I see online a lot. I remember seeing it a few years back. It's called Quack Watch, and they put all this stuff out there like, against alternative. Actually, Quack Watch got heat for criticizing quote-unquote alternative too much because alternative does have some types of merits. Actually, it's not like perfect, but usually it's a lot of good for, you getting, it's worthwhile for the amount of money you might be spending. Depends on what it is. I mean, yeah, there are alternative people that want to charge you $20,000 for like a week's worth of treatment or something, which could be ridiculous. But there's some things out there that are very inexpensive. So, like if you have Canada, you might want to take an herb called wormwood. Wormwood gets rid of worms and fungi and black walnut hulls. That's one of the things. But one of the better things to do for Candida, it's like a fungus in the stomach, where people make you feel more sluggish and stuff like that, and it makes you feel more run down. It's kind of hard to get rid of, Another thing you can use is a Candida Zapper. Now, this guy got this from Ecuador. It's pretty cool. Like, the way he's got it is, like, if you turn it on, this little red light goes on, right? And if you, like, when you're conducting electricity, you notice the other light goes on. That means it's going through, making a complete circuit. So the way you would do this is you take these two cloth pads and you'd wet them in tap water, and you have, just like I was talking about with the Beck protocol thing, but this is a Candida Zapper. You put the metal clip inside the cloth. On one side, the cloth would be against the skin, and the metal clip would be away from the skin. And you would use like a weight belt, like this, right? And you would put this inside. In other words, this would be on your body, and when you'd be zapping through the torso, basically. But this is Candida. This is called for a type of fungi. So as it goes through the body, these you may make an electrical contact. It'll be going through the body, and as it goes through, the other light would go on, because one has a power light, and the second one is this is the power light. The top one is the showing that the electricity is actually going through. Now, this is a special current that was developed by Dr. Hulda Clark. Now, in my opinion, I think this is probably something she did that was good. I don't know if, like, I can't buy into like the cure for all diseases, like that kind of stuff. But as far as, I like the idea behind the zappers, because if it actually is hindering a microbe or causing it not to reproduce or killing it off or somehow, because you got the right current that you're using for that right frequency that you're using against that parasite or virus or fungi, whatever it is, I like the idea behind it because it kind of goes right through the body, and like unlike a pill that you take has to circulate, you can actually target that area of the body with this electric current. In theory, it sounds like it's really good. Now, I know like Dr. Royal Rife actually did a lot of work with frequencies against cancer and things like that. I don't know. Some people say he was a quack. I don't think so. Actually, if you go back to the 1920s, it was Dr. Otto Warburg who was researching a lot on cancer, what it was, and he got the Nobel Peace Prize in 1931. He's of the famous Warburg family, and he says it was like the way the metabolic function of the cells changed from anaerobic oxygen breathing to anaerobic non-oxygen breathing. It was almost like became like a fungus, and that's what Tullio Simoncini said. Now I can tell you some of this stuff. This is all about Candida, but Candida is a fungus too. It's a fungus, and it makes me wonder if this could be effective against cancer. I don't know about that though. I never heard of that, but if I had cancer, I'd experiment with everything. I'd use the Beck protocol. I'd try a little bit of the baking soda with the molasses. Actually, I could tell you honestly, well, I guess I should say this. My mom is actually an RN with a degree, and she worked in intensive care for many years, and she investigated doctors actually for a number of years. So I kind of know some other medical things from people that are connected to her. And actually, there are people. Some of the times, doctors will actually tell their cancer patients to take some baking soda while they're doing a chemo and all this other the normal treatment. It's like they're not telling you don't do any chemo, don't do any radiation, don't do this. They'll tell you in addition to do that, take a little bit of baking soda every day with some water, because the alkalizing environment actually makes it more difficult for cancer to grow. Now, and I look at some of these devices with the microelectricity. I like the idea behind it because you can actually target a specific area. You can target tumors and all this type of stuff. Now, this device is not designed for cancer. It says C-Zapper, but that stands for Candida Zapper, which is a type of fungus. But if I had cancer and I had these devices anyway for Candida or whatever it was, I'd use everything, to tell you the truth. I would try everything there is, because you never know. It's almost like sometimes things are unexpected, they work, and sometimes things that are, you think they're going to work, they don't work. But, these zappers, I think, are one of the best things around, period. And there's different designs for different purposes. Like this is another zapper. This is made by Silver Smoke Research. I got a couple of these on eBay. They'll usually start the bid at $80 and they go up to $150. This takes 3 batteries in it, 3 9-volt batteries. Like if you turn it on, this is actually right to the Beck, design, Dr. Beck design. If you turn it on, you notice it goes red, green, red, green. That means it's going positive, negative. That's actually the way, just to verify the circuit's working. And then when you plug it in, the light goes off. And normally you would zap this on the wrist, but you can do it the same way. You can actually zap right through the torso, use these large pads and do it that way. And this also has the colloidal silver maker in it, which is this. You put it in this jack, and you notice, the orange light is on. Actually, you would connect a couple of silver rods and put them in distilled water. And it takes some hours for it to make. Actually, all this is doing is putting about 27 to 29 volts DC through a couple wires. That's all it's actually doing. But it does make a good quality colloidal silver. So I noticed, I use this little unit all the time for making colloidal silver. It's pretty good. But these devices are cheap. And I used a 9.6 heavy-duty, 9.6 volt heavy-duty rechargeable batteries in this. And, it lasts, I don't know, umpteen hours and all this kind of garbage. Probably like 70, 75 hours of usage before you recharge them again. Now, I don't think that this protocol does kill every single pathogen out there. But there is a patent. There's 2 patents that show that it kills viruses, fungi, and bacteria in a petri dish. Actually, not kills them, but actually keeps it from replicating and actually getting into infecting new healthy cells. But what the beauty of these things, like these zappers, is the cost. I can't see, if somebody was, where I would see if a person would be a quack, is if you went to a doctor's office and he wanted to charge you, $150 a session for using this device. I would deem that person not just a quack, but a total ripoff. I mean, this whole device costs you, if you get it low if you get it on a low bid and nobody buys it, it's $80 plus $5.95 shipping. They didn't make much money on this device, Nobody's trying to rip anybody off. So, but I have to say is like, if you want to try this, it's probably a smart thing. But they have so many of these things they use in the animal world, and when a veterinarian does it, it's like no problem. If they give an animal this, they use magnetic pulse on an animal to help, bring him as therapy from a stroke that the animal had or some kind of injury, and it brings them back or helps with arthritis or whatever. They don't get in trouble. So like it really is no BS. We got, and I can't say this about all the medical people because a lot of medical people are very caring people. Most of them are. But I've noticed is that it's usually the lower down on the food chain, like we almost want to call it in the hierarchy in the medical world, the more caring they are. I mean, there's caring doctors and stuff, but as you get way up there in the corporate structure, in the multi-billion-dollar offices of Pharma Inc., they get further away from actually giving a shit about people. Actually, a lot of times it's like even the LPN, who's the most caring about people and work the hardest and do all the dirty work. That's what you'll see, what actually happens. But I would highly recommend this also. I got this from Mike Forrest down in Ecuador too. I'm probably going to get another one of his products here in a couple months. I might just get another microelectrical zapper. I have about 5 or 6 of these damn things as it is, and I use them every day. But I like the idea behind them. I think they're fantastic. And, a lot of times people get these problems sometimes, and they say they're incurable and all this kind of crap. Not every time does the Beck protocol work that perfect on a person, but it seems like if you use that or you use it in conjunction with something else, a lot of times it does work. Sometimes it's good to actually combine that with conventional treatment. And a lot of times doctors are fine with doing some alternative medicine, quote unquote. They are absolutely fine with it, because I can tell you, there's sometimes you'll see people are treating doctors that are pre-treating patients with cancer. They'll tell them to take a little baking soda in the water every day. It's not going to hurt you. They'll give them the chemo. They'll give them a little radiation or whatever they're going to do, and they'll tell them to take a little bit of baking soda. So, and I think this one device that basically I'm highlighting this time, the Candida Zapper, I think, if Dr. Holder Clark did some really good stuff that really was legit all the way, I think it was something like this is something what she did, I think is one of the things you could say is pretty solid. The Candida Zapper. I would never go as far as to say, cure for all diseases. I don't think there's anything like that out there. But it may be not too far of a stretch to say that there's some type of frequency, maybe not this device per se, but if you have something that has the right frequency, the right electrical current, you could probably destroy every kind of pathogens if you find the right frequency and electrical current that will destroy it or disrupt its replicating abilities. There probably is a cure that way against everything. But I would highly recommend some of these things, because sometimes people are fatigued and they're sluggish. Actually, a lot of times it's due to Candida, fungi in the stomach. People don't have the right bioflora and stuff. And if you kill off The fungus, it's like that's what's causing people to be sluggish sometimes and more tired. And one of the best ways to do that, in my opinion, is with the zapper. And I think this is one area Dr. Clelda Clark was accurate in. You know, I actually also agree with the ones that say alternative medicine can be quackery, because I would not go along with the cure for all diseases. You know, that's way too overboard. But I think she has done some things that have had a lot of merit. And one of the things she did was this getting rid of the funguses in the intestines, which causes people to feel sluggish. And a lot of that is your immune system. That is a lot of your immune system too. It's actually the bioflora in the gut. If the bioflora is too much of a balance to the bad stuff, you're going to have problems, and that affects your immune system. So, you know, it could help your overall health really well. So I think it's a smart idea, and a small investment too. So anyway, I'm not selling for Mike or anything like that. I just bought a bunch of his products, and I use them a lot. And I read a lot about feedback from people who've used them on not just his site, but a lot of other sites, and it just makes sense to me. So that's the only endorsement. I'm not, you know, this isn't a commercial or anything like that. So it's just an actual genuine opinion from a non-medical person who's a layman, but somebody can actually read and think on his own.